So we're now back online. No errors this time. We're going to verify audio, and for those who happen to have experienced choppy audio earlier, it's a hardware issue, which is now resolved, I think. But John is probably going to verify. Sounds good?
Much better.
All right. So, Mr. DM Pawn, sorry about that. And what's funny is it affected the recording as well. So everything that we just talked about is kind of, so I think I'm gonna, I don't know.
Just do a voiceover where you impersonate all of us.
Yes, I'll do that. That'd be good.
Mike should do the voiceover.
Yes.
No. In this case, this should be Jason. I'll do another one some other time. This one's got to be Jason.
All right. So you guys ready to play some Savage Worlds by Pinnacle Entertainment? You guys ready to do this? Now that we fixed our audio problem?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's see if I can get this right. The trackless waste of sand and bone. Maggot Gap ain't known for much, save for that silky, amber-colored sand and a heat that'll turn even the hardiest cowboys into a strip of beef jerky. Just like that. Oh, and then there's the species of temperamental, meat-hungry invertebrates known to the lay folk as sand maggots. For the school kids, these creatures are a thing of legend. Their distant howls sparking all kinds of nightmares. To the occasional criminal, they're the equivalent of the hangman's noose, but with about 100 rows of teeth and a whole lot more painful. To the native folk, they're a way for a boy to become a brave by facing the horrors of the desert. Somewhere in between these is where Dobbs, Ash, and Nate find themselves. Bring back a maggot and absolve themselves of a bloody first impression on the kind folk of Maggot Gap. Win the support in their fight against Buck and Chuck Futley. I did it. Nope. Fail, and one more of them is going to be a curious smell. One or more of them is going to be a curious smell on the belch of a well-fed worm. Now, the last time we saw our posse, they found themselves... Oh, hell, let me just let them tell you. Let's start with this question. Why is it that Nate said, "Stop naming things Teddy"? Nate?
Well, it's probably because Dobbs over there took that poor little sheep and went hucking him straight over his head, right into that damn worm's mouth, right before he exploded all over us.
I think that's about right. I think that the kicker was you found yourselves approaching this oasis. It was very strange. There was something kind of odd about it, and the closer you got, you realized there was something off. And then, not unlike an antlion, a big cone opened up, a funnel opened up in the desert floor and started sucking you in. There was a sort of battle back and forth. But I'd like to point out that who was it who had the idea to weaponize the sheep with the ghost rock grenades? Whose idea was that?
That would be me.
Guilty.
So these ghost rock grenades, they're sort of like nitroglycerin, and if you agitate them, it seems that they have a bit of a tendency to explode. They started to glow and make a hell of a racket. And so half the combat was you trying to keep the sheep calm enough that it didn't explode. So you weren't really fighting so much as just trying to keep that thing from blowing up. As the tentacles are coming up out of the desert, as you see on this map here, dragging your friends in. Dobbs, what were you doing in this combat? Do you remember?
I was doing a double dynamite leg drop on putting the good old Teddy in the hole while I was doing some bourbon teat dancing. Trying not to get ate by whatever that thing was in the sand. Cross between some sort of, like, I don't know, octopus and a like rat or something. I don't know. I'm just glad it wasn't no damn geese.
So moments ago, let's just kind of think about the heat and the chaos and the loud noises and the shrill shriek of these crazy plants over there off to the eastern side of the map. Dobbs literally grabbed that sheep by its back legs and flung it backwards in a wrestling move. It went end over end right into the maw of this thing. And then there was this huge column of blue, or maybe it was green, I can't remember the color, of energy as it exploded in the maw of this creature and shot gook everywhere. So now we hear the sound of stuff falling. Parts of this thing falling from being way the hell up in the sky. Everyone's basically okay, maybe a little shaken. Tell me, where do I find Nate if I'm looking for him?
Nate's on the ground, covering himself, trying not to get hit over the head by all the debris and the chaos that's just happened. And he takes a real quick inventory of himself, make sure he's got all his fingers and toes and that he's just all right. Probably 35, 40 feet from the now giant hole that's in the ground back there.
Nice. How about Ash, where are you? What are you up to? I think you're up there on the map somewhere by John, aren't you? I gotta look at the map now.
Hanging out up in the corner. I think I'm still mounted on the horse that they gave me. That we persuaded them to part with. So I think I just kind of am doing a similar thing, trying to like keep hold of my steps in and like, you know, shelter myself from the falling debris and keep the horse calm. Kind of interposed the myself and the animal between the explosion and Mr. John.
Nice. So why don't we start there with the roll? So I'm going to want a riding roll because your horse right now is reacting to this explosion, right? It's just a stoosh. Let's see just what that looks like for you.
Not very good.
So I got a 3. So you are, and remember you're recharged with 3 bennies. I guess I got to reset you guys to 3 bennies now. So figure that out. So your horse is panicked, and at this point is bolting out of this sort of this little valley area, leaving John. John, you didn't have a mount, did you? I don't think.
Nope. Taking it on foot.
So you're seeing Ash struggling with this horse, and you're kind of like, oh, it is rearing up, making all sorts of racket and about to bolt. Do you just how do you react to that?
I'll reach and try to help guide the reins if I can, settle down, and like soothing voice. Whoa boy.
give me a persuasion roll, please. Let's see if you can persuade that horse. Wow. Thank you, wild die. So the wild die saved you. You would have had a critical failure there almost if you didn't roll another one. But yeah, so you can make kissy face noises and you reach up and kind of grab the reins, and something about your uncanny presence really does seem to calm the horse. Ash, you notice this almost for the first time. It's like really over the top. Just it's like this hush falls over the situation. So in the meanwhile, you hear this coming from the general direction that the horse would have been running. And it literally gets even worse. It's like worse than Ash's cough, right? The ghost rock addict's cough. It's just this wheezing, dry laughter, and it is just going on and on. What do you guys do as it echoes through the canyon?
I'm gonna take my revolver, which is probably now covered with gook, and kind of like, whip it off a little bit, clean it off, and kind of ready and look in that direction and be like, who's out there?
You call out.
Train the revolver.
You kind of turn, Ash, and you look, and your eagle eye, you spot this rail thin, sort of bony figure up on the edge of this kind of ledge. And he's got his hat held up against his chest, and he is pointing at you and just laughing his ass off. He seems to notice you looking at him, but he's just too amused to even react. What do you do? He's just... boom! Go ahead.
I look at John for help because Ash and we all know Ash has an itchy trigger finger, so I think she kind of like wipes some of the gook off of her rifle, and she kind of just like slowly aims it at the guy, like, and then looks at John like, should I?
After the turmoil we just went through, there's a moment of hesitation. Like, that might not be a bad idea, but kind of chuckle to myself. Well, kind of figured to use one of your friends, but okay. Fella, what are you doing out here? Did you know this was here? Could you have given us a heads up on this thing at least?
Hell, son! I've known this thing was here since it was this big. They normally don't get that big out here in the desert. No, they don't. You just walk right into it like you didn't even know it. Look at over there, you can see all the flowers. You ain't never seen flowers like that, had you? He starts to kind of amble down. He's wearing overalls with nothing underneath, as far as you can tell. He's got some old boots that are a little too big, probably from someone else. He's got a hat that looks like it's seen many, many better days. And it might have actually been maybe some kind of military situation, but it's so mangled and crooked, it's hard to tell what's left. He's also got a cane that he walks with that looks like, and the closer he gets walking down this ridge, a big-ass bone. So he walks up, he's got a silver, some kind of insignia around his neck. You can't really tell what it is from the distance. I don't mean you no harm, fellas, but can I ask you what you threw in that thing's mouth? It looked from back where I was, it looked like a sheep. Young man, was that a dog or a sheep or you all right? He says.
His name was Teddy, and he was my friend, but he was a sheep.
He kind of looks at you with an understanding look, like maybe too understanding, Nate. Like, oh, I'm sorry. He holds his hat against his chest again. Yeah, I don't never want to lose a sheep. You all right over there? He's kind of comes walking back toward, well, kind of where's my tokens? Comes walking back toward the mall as I'm trying to find Mr. The silver guy here.
Yeah, Nate's standing up and he's dusting himself off and doing one last pass over himself, making sure he's okay. He's got his cane in his hand and he's sort of racking his hat on his pant leg. And yeah, I'm all right. Dobbs, you doing all right, buddy?
I'm doing okay, but I have a question. I'm not sure it's very pertinent at this moment, but I think now's a good time. You've been helping me with my words and stuff like that, and I kind of scoops up a big chunk of what's left of the sheep off of his thing. He's like, "Is this now veal?"
Bless your heart. Veal's from a cow. That's mutton.
Oh, okay, got it. No.
It might actually be whatever this creature was. I'm not sure. We can tell.
John's like, no, that looks like monster.
Just to be careful.
Mr. Dobbs, y'all might want to hold off on making that your midday meal till we can.
Why would you eat it? That's gross.
You're right. How silly of me.
How silly. Also, is this gentleman is kind of walking by. I'm gonna start to follow him, but I turn to Ash and say, good thinking and shooting with that plant brain or whatever it was. I'm not sure we necessarily needed to blow this thing up, but thanks to your shooting, we took care of it, and then just, Dobbs made extra sure it was dead.
Yeah, I don't suppose this thing's gonna be moving around and twitching much longer. Nah, I've seen plenty of brains in my day, so, I just kind of figured, yeah.
Makes sense. I'm not going to ask about the brains, but leave that for maybe a drink around the campfire.
I just stare at you coldly as I light a cigarette.
Say, okay, I'm going to follow this guy.
So he's walking around this corpse of this thing. Now, as you look down in the funnel, most of the dirt has kind of collapsed in again. But there's some tentacles, and there's obviously a lot of ichor and guts that have blown out. And again, there's little pieces of it everywhere. And as he's walking around, he's just with amusement kind of poking the little globs of whatever with his cane. I wouldn't have reckoned it'd gone down quite that easy with a sheep. Yeah, that light looked to me a little bit like Ghost Rock. He glances at Dobbs with a smile. He's got one tooth and it is hanging on for its life. You carrying Ghost Rock into this desert, boy?
Me? No. I don't even know what Ghost Rock is. So I guess I could have some, but I don't think so. I'm pleased to meet your acquaintance, though, and I kind of step forward to him, and I'll put my hand out.
You put your hand out straight for a handshake, and it's almost like you could shake his face. He's so little. He's such a little man.
I was like,
and you're
like, my friends call me Dobbs. Well, actually, everybody just kind of calls me Dobbs.
You sure are a big one.
Yep.
So you say you don't know if you're carrying some Ghost Rock?
Nope. I do my complimentary spit on him, though.
You spit on? Where on him do you spit? On his chest, on his face?
Probably like right here on the side of his head, so it just kind of goes down like this eyeball.
Give me an intimidation check. Let's see if he takes that.
I'm not trying to intimidate him.
Ranged attack.
Yeah, no. I'm trying to determine if he feels intimidated by you enough that he doesn't react.
Oh, got it. So intimidate. That's what? That's gonna be a Frank's.
Intimidation spirit. If you don't have it.
Spirit. Oh, I don't have that either.
You got a little something in that. You got to have something.
But I got a 4. Let's see here. That would be. Oh, I guess I could roll the online thing.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you got to
I
do
forgot how
that
this
so
game
everybody can
works.
see it.
I forgot how this game works and all that once we have played.
I need a little bit more tasty. There we go. That's better. Thorg says, "Nice. Nate knows his meat."
I don't know if it's rolled or just got a delay or.
Depends on the day. There. Holy shit! So Dobbs with a 15. So yeah, you spit and he stiffens, and you see in his eyes, like he's not sure how to react, but he just lets it run down the side of his face. Smell like
Sorry
Ghost Rock.
about that, buddy. It happens sometimes around me. I didn't mean that in a disrespectful way or anything. Some people call it my kiss.
I reckon you don't, but just so you understand, you smell like Ghost Rock. No matter.
I've been accused of smelling like lots of things, but Ghost Rock ain't one of them there, buddy.
He kind of turns away cautiously. Like, I don't really want to tangle with this guy, but he looks over his shoulder. He kind of eyes each one of you as if to say, control your boy. But he's so slight. I mean, you can see his ribs underneath the kind of, the sort of sagging fabric of his overalls as he kind of walks. Mainly, I was just coming down here to see if y'all needed any help, if you were hurt and whatever. But, seeing as how you got access to something like that, I thought maybe we could have a little conversation about how you might be able to help me with a little problem I have out here in the desert. So I don't know if you're on an errand for somebody or what you're doing out here, because we don't get a whole lot of visitors. But if you're packing heat like it appears you are, well, old Silver Pete, he's got a proposition for you. He wipes the rest of the spit off his face.
Well, we were just taking in the local flora until this happened, so maybe we could be of service. What are you needing?
Boy, you expect me to believe you're out here looking at flowers? You ain't never seen one of them before?
No, that's why we were looking at it, and maybe we could use some advice on other flowers not to look at.
Well,
yeah, Silver Pete, was it?
That's right.
Did I get that right?
Some people call me Bang Bang. You can call me Peter, or Pete, or Sweetheart, whichever you prefer.
Right, sweetheart.
He seems totally like, yes. Most people will be like, whoa. Yeah.
Yeah, Ash just ashes her cigarette. Now, we're obviously newcomers to your neck of the woods here, or lack thereof woods. We are trekking through this beautiful country, as my friend John here said, looking, just taking in the local flora, but specifically we're also searching for some local fauna. Any idea where we might rustle ourselves up a sand maggot?
He stops and, well, as a matter of fact, I do. I mean, this is called Maggot Gap for a reason. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about your little, what'd you call it, a fauna search? I'm not sure what that word means, but I guess it means worm or something. He comes over closer to you.
I'm the only one that don't know what that word means.
He glances back at you like, all right, we're going to find common denominator in our in our lack of formal education.
I mean, animals, local wildlife. That's what we're here to see.
Now you're here to see them? Or how about this? How about
click
this?
the revolt the rifle and just kind of like rest it on my saddle. Mm-hmm.
He looks you over. Well, I think that calls for a drink. How about you? I'm just up here on top of this rise. He starts a walk. It occurs to you it's going to take a little while for him to get up there as he kind of, crutches his way up there on this bone, which is clearly some part of a very large animal. Very large animal. Do you follow in line with him? You let him lead the way? John, you're trying to...
I kind of look to the others and just kind of like... I mean, I'm never one to turn down a drink, and after just kind of gesturing to all the guts on me, I wouldn't mind to sit down.
A drink really does sound good, but it's going to take us a minute to get up there, buddy. Why don't you let me help you? And I just scoop him up like a little kid.
What in the hell are you doing? Give me a persuasion roll, please. You're trying to make him feel okay, or are you just trying to just...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see if he goes with that. That's a critical failure. So, interestingly, Dobbs, as you go to scoop him up, you feel a sudden crushing pain in your testicles. And then the old man is just not right there where you expect him to be. You go to lift him. Something's like crunch up under the nethers. And you're like, with obvious. And then you see him, as you lean down, his little face is right there. Did your grandfather ever teach you nothing? Don't you touch me, boy. I'll spank you even worse next time.
What? I didn't mean it in that kind of way. I was just trying to help you up the old hill.
He smacks you in the mouth. What'd I tell you? Don't you sass me, boy. Don't you sass me.
That hurt that bad since I tried to go out with old Sammy Sue.
He whoosh again. And the thing that's worse, Dobbs, is his breath is actually the worst. Because that one tooth, there's not enough teeth there to hold the lack of hygiene back. So it's just blasting you. And the smacks are just very fatherly or almost grandmotherly. Just whoosh, whoosh. You need to mind your sass out here in the desert. If you want Silver Pete's help, you gonna treat me like an elder. And that means you treat me with respect. You hear me, boy?
Well, I guess so.
And when you stand up, you literally tower over him. He's got to look up at you like, I thought so. Who wants something to eat?
Nate is smirking like hell at John. He's just giving him the, like, you seeing this shit?
Physically containing laughter at this point.
Like, I know that that Dobbs isn't in any real danger, but it is hilarious to see Dobbs like totally dumbfounded at what to do.
Now this boy needs something to eat. Who else needs something to eat? Come on.
I lost a little bit of my appetite, but I can take a drink.
So
Dobbs will raise his hand again.
Yeah, you hungry? I figured that's part of your problem. Folk like you get ornery when they're hungry. You make your way up to the top of the rise, where he has a proper prospector's camp set up. It's haphazard, and if you look at it, it's clear that he doesn't have the complete set of equipment to survive here. He's been getting by. That's the first thing you notice. He's got a little tent. He's got a little kind of lean-to over the fire there, a little tripod with a pot on it and whatnot. And he's got some corpses of some kind of small varmints. You don't know what they are. It's without their hair or the sort of extra appendages or whatever. But he does proceed to start to cook. He brings over a great big jug, like straight up like jug band jug. Now this is some of Pete's best. Who wants to sample it first? He takes a big swig. And you see around his mouth turns red. He, whoo, whoo. How about you, big fella?
I'm right there.
You just snaps. All right, nice. All right, so you're gonna have a big swig. You're gonna have a little tiny bit. What are you gonna do there?
Enormous swig.
Let's do a vigor.
Mm.
No, you've had worse. You've made worse. So you take a big swig and just it just burns going all the way down, and suddenly this Pete guy seems a lot more friendly. You pass it on. Who's next?
I have some.
Dobbs, give me a vigor roll. Don't do the double ones on this one. Oh man, wild die doesn't save you. And you gonna let that one ride, Dobbs?
Nah, I've
No.
never been a very good person using my bennies in a proper way.
She could use a Benny now?
I should just use it for something totally useless.
Yeah, that's amazing. Do it.
Awesome.
Okay, so you take a sip, you roll it around in your mouth, and your tongue goes numb instantly. And then you sort of choke it down. It's fire all the way down to your belly, but you're going to be all right. But that's just one sip. And suddenly, this guy seems all right. Everything's good. It's nice. Dobbs nor Ash die. John, are you next?
Seeing the reaction of Ash and then Dobbs especially, those are kind of my gauges. Like if Ash drinks it, okay, any human theoretically can drink it. Dobbs doing it and reacting that way, maybe not. I appreciate the offer. You guys share it, and I pull out my own flask and take a swig.
Oh, what's that, goat's milk, boy? He says. He laughs.
I think comparatively, yeah.
How about you? By the way, I don't think we were properly introduced. I know Dobbs. What was your name again?
Hey, sorry about my big friend there. He spits like a camel and he's twice as big. I'm Nate. How you doing?
Well, having a fella like him around's necessary. Besides, a fella like that, you get used to it.
Yeah, he's all right.
I will whoop his ass if he spits on me again. And he leans in quietly, obviously, not one to be overheard. Why don't you have you a sip of my special brew?
I really would love to, but I got a touch of the... I think I'm coming down with something I'd really hate to taint your great stash there, but I'm sure Ash would love another swig.
I reckon she's twice a man you are. He just holds it over his shoulder, knowing that she's standing right there.
Yeah, she thinks it.
So I'm picturing sort of Dobbs and Ash just trading sips with this guy, and it's heavy. It's some kind of moonshine, right? Very soon, you start to smell whatever rodent he's cooking. Smells wonderful. He's got some wild onions and some kind of brothy thing going on there. You wind up eating, and Dobbs, it's really good. It's a little gritty from all the sand and shit that's probably stuck to the meat that he can't wash off. But the sun starts to kind of fall, and like you can picture like a harmonica being played somehow, right? Like this quiet starts to get pretty cool because it's a desert. So why don't you tell old Pete, as he lights himself a pipe, why are you out here hunting worms, Miss Ash?
So we're feeling pretty buzzed about this.
Oh yeah. You're not. You tell me. Do you get fucked up or do you just get relaxed?
I mean, he drinks pretty well, so he's probably...
I think Ash is maintaining her level of alertness while intoxicated, as she's known to do. She's always a little bit on edge, ready for something to skitter across her path. So she definitely drinks, but isn't like stupid about it.
Well, I will say, if I didn't know better, I'd say you aren't strangers to trouble. On account of young Missy here has got her rifle over her lap, and I don't know it's left her lap. Reminds me of my grandmother, but she had a cat that she used to keep in her lap all the time. So, why are you out here in the middle of the desert, where people just go to die, hunting maggots? I'd love to help you, but I also could smell a lie.
Dobbs is feeling pretty good. She's like, well, truth be told, you won't believe it though, but I'm gonna catch a sand maggot with my bare hands.
Would you believe that we're out here seeking fame and fortune?
Both of you give me persuasion rolls. Dobbs and
I'm just lighting up a cigar.
How do you react when each of these stories comes out? Oh, was that a double one? So it's not.
I, as soon as Dobbs says that, it's kind of like a moment of, oh great, he's telling a tall tale, but then I'm like, no, he believes that. I actually believe it now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, Nate does the same thing. He was going to interject, and he goes, no, that actually fits. Yeah.
Not lying.
Fame and fortune. And with your bare hands. Ain't nobody ever caught a sand maggot with their bare hands, boy. Ever.
I bet nobody ever blew up one of them things with a sheet, but we did it.
See, trouble is, those things, I like to call them a funnel worm. So, like, if you see what one of them looks like, a little funnel, and there's a tube that goes down real deep, and then they pop up something, looks like flowers, get you excited, get you to come near it. Sandworm's gonna hunt you, boy. It ain't gonna sit there and let you throw a exploding sheep down its throat.
Well,
That'll be easier then, right? It'll come right to us.
right.
Yeah, typically in a fight, I like to see my enemy coming from a ways away, so I think this sandworm hunting business is going to be right up our alley.
Missy, I wish I didn't like you so much. 'Cause you in with the wrong bunch. Still, this one, he points at Dobbs, this one's got heart. I'm gonna tell you what. I got just the sandworm for you. Sand maggot, I'm sorry, not sandworm. See, this here, what you see is not my proper residence. I was cast out into this desert on account of there's silver in the hills to the north. Quite a lot of it. Hence the name Silver Pete. Now, I aim to get that silver, but see, my actual residence happened to be very nearby. The nest of one particularly angry and hungry and unimpressible sand maggot. So, if you're going to be looking for one, I can tell you where to find one. And if you succeed in killing it, well, I got a little something for you.
I look at the other gentlemen, my friends, and I kind of give you all the look, which is like a could be worse proposition.
Well, I mean, we were going for those end goals anyways, so what would you say you have for us?
Well, I got a bag of silver that your friend here would probably have a little trouble carrying. But the catch isn't just killing the sandworm. I want you to bring Snowball back.
Can you elaborate?
What'd you say, Ash?
Does it care to elaborate?
Snowball.
Snowball's not sheep, right?
His head snaps toward you. You bite your tongue. Snowball's my dog. I had to get out there so quick. I had to leave her behind. She was hurt. That thing tried to eat her. I saved that dog. Nearly lost my life in the process, and she runned off into the cabin, but I couldn't get to her. You gonna bring her back. And I'm gonna give you a bag of silver to hurt old Dobbs back here. Seems like a win-win.
Well, I mean, it's only a win-win if we get a sand maggot.
Well, there's a
We're
sand
gonna
maggot.
kill ourselves a sand maggot anyway. Might as well make a little silver in the process, eh, Dobbs?
Yeah, that's true. I bet my phone could use some more change, don't you think?
I mean, it stands to reason that if we take care of this old sand maggot, then wrangling a dog would be a pretty easy task comparatively to the one previously undertaken. So if there's silver involved, I mean, I'm gonna leave the dog wrangling to you, Mr. Dobbs, since you're so good with animals. But I don't see why we shouldn't.
Yeah. You know, that reminds me, you haven't seen a horse that kind of walks a little funny out here, have you? Kind of. You got like a... it's like his back's out of position. Well, in fact, his back is kind of out of position, but...
Animals with injuries don't last long out here. Maggot Gap. It's probably been
You
eaten.
ain't that Murph.
He ain't an animal. He's something else.
Mercy beast, unlike the kind that well, Preacher Bill, he used to always talk about the mark of the beast on Sunday mornings, and that Murph is straight out of that. Like, you'd expect he got some sort of mark on him or something like that, but I mean, other than that funky gallop, he's pretty good. As sharp as a tack.
I'm sorry for your loss, son, he says. I'm sure he was a nice horse. Maybe your sheep and your horse are together with the good Lord.
I would feel it in here if Murph was gone. He's part of my soul.
You are a tall one, he says.
Just like Snowball, I'm sure Murph is out there and ready to be saved, or hell, for Murph, he might do the saving for us. Could you tell us a little bit more about your proper residence, where that's at? Like, how far of a trek is that?
I can.
And how long ago did this happen?
You're about a day north. It's been, I declare, probably, 3 months. You don't keep track of time when you live out this way.
3 months.
Yeah.
About.
Well, I don't know.
All right.
Could have been 2 weeks,
So-
as far as I know, Missy.
I just want to ask you something, though. So, right, okay, so we go to your abode and we fight this sand maggot. What kind of, to put it gently, what in the world makes you think that it hasn't already eaten your little Snowball? Because
Oh, you bite your tongue. You bite your tongue. Snowball, she ain't going down like that. She's inside.
Right.
Now that thing, let me tell you what happened. So I built up this cabin, not far off from the silver mine. I had blowed some holes in the wall, because that's what I do. He points over at some crates. And apparently, I pissed this sand maggot off. Out it comes. Starts kind of going around, but it never came close to my house. But then I realized that when I be out moving in the sand, it's like it could see me moving or hear me moving. One day I'm out there with Snowball and we's walking up and I got a crate of dynamite. I'm gonna blow me a hole and it's gonna be the load of dreams. I'm gonna go back to my wife and we're gonna be rich. And that thing came out of nowhere and just flew up in the air. And he goes on with this description like he's there, and this sand maggot apparently launches itself out of the sand, crashes down. He thinks it takes Snowball's leg off or something. The dog goes bolting, smashes his wagon. But the house, as he was running, like it seemed to have no concern. It wanted meat. It wanted my meat. He points at each one of you. There's a lot more meat on each one of you than me. Watch out.
So, these sand maggots, do you know anything else that might be of use? You said it seemed to be able to see you, so were you making a lot of noise? Could it hear you, do you think?
I certainly don't think it could see me because they live under the sand, and the loose sand especially. They don't spend much time around the rocks. Don't think there's much point. But it's like they can feel you moving. And when I say feel, I mean if you tap, he puts his finger down and taps. He's right there kind of next to the fire. You can see him kind of tapping into the sand. Just like that. One's nearby, it's like it can sense you. And that's just the little ones. The old ones, it's like they got some kind of smarts, he says.
And this sand maggot that kind of, you know, gave you some trouble, about how old are we talking? Youngling, you know, young adult, senior citizen?
Let's just say I'm writing me a book one day. The title of that book's gonna be Mother Maggot. Dubs.
I'm writing a book too about my mother.
I was just gonna ask you how you
We got a lot in common.
Truth be told, his poetry is something else. Like, if we need to kill any time tonight, Dobbs is your man.
You read him some poetry, Dobbs?
Absolutely.
You gotta give me a performance or a spirit check.
Ugh, I don't got no performance, that's for sure.
Ooh, yikes. So it's
where
fun.
Ash
With my tongue numb.
Yeah, you start to recite one of your favorite ones. Byron, what's the title of it off the top of your head? What's the title of the poem that you're trying to recite?
Who took my boot?
Okay, so you're trying to recite "Who took my boot," but like that's when the shine really hits you, and that's the last thing you remember for the evening as you just pass out mid-poem. The evening winds down, and it winds up just Silver Pete and the sober among you. Ash is sleeping with her rifle and her finger on the trigger of her rifle in her lap. So it's just John and Nate. The snores and the crackle of the fire. Y'all really willing to do this for me?
Well, as I said, we was hunting sand maggots anyway, and you happen to know where one is. Why not help a friend out, right?
Friends. To friends. He holds up the jug and takes a big slug and kind of looks for a place to pass it and does his shoulders and takes another big glug. The one thing you notice about this guy is it doesn't seem to affect him. Like he's still awake and seemingly alert as he ever was. What do you do for the rest of the evening as the fire starts to burn down? Your friends are snoring. Dobbs has got a big shit-eating grin on his face for no reason.
About that boot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely be trying to like clean up my gear and stuff as best as possible. I know not a lot of provisions around here to do that with, but even just wiping them down, making sure they're dry and stuff like that, trying to maintain them.
Nice. So
Yeah, Nate is just getting comfortable, getting some rest, and making small talk, and trying to be as friendly and cordial as he can be.
You get a couple of key factors. You gather that this man. Actually, give me a notice check. Let me see how much you pick up on Silver Pete.
You got it.
Keep forgetting I'm on a microphone and I'm like clearing my cold. Whoa.
I
okay.
gotta keep muting myself for that too.
Yeah. So, as you're chatting with him, you know, he starts to kind of open up a little more the less sober he gets. He's still alert. But the backstory there that you gather essentially is that he seems to have come out here probably a very long time ago. Like a long time ago, looking for that silver lode. And he's been out here for quite some time. You're beginning to doubt whether or not his story is 100% true. Just because he's really old and decrepit at this point. He's been wandering out in the middle of the desert for forever, you don't know. But you do sense that he is convicted to the fact that, yeah, he's got a property up that way, and you know that there's something that happened there. And he does seem very interested in you finding Snowball. So, dawn breaks. Nate, you've fallen asleep without even remembering doing so. John, you fell asleep after doing some card tricks or whatever, and just kind of drifted off by the fire. Silver Pete, seemingly just trusting that you are fine, just rolled over and went to sleep right in there in the dirt next to the fire. Ash, your eyes snap open, your fingers still right there on the trigger. You're ready to shoot. You're looking around. There's just snoring people around you. The rest of you wake up in time. The sun is just blaring over the horizon. Pete is laying there next to the fire snoring. And as you stir, he kind of looks around and stretches. Yeah, well, kids, I reckon it's maggot hunting time. He smiles.
Good a day as any, eh?
So, you're gonna catch one of these with your own bare hands. Is that what I heard?
Sounds like you got it right.
He gives you a huge hug. You one big, dumb, brave sumbitch. He pats you.
I give him a hug too and pick him all the way up off the ground.
Oh, he kind of does that laugh. You hear his back crack like 7 or 8 times. And when you put him down, he might even be a little tiny bit taller than he was. Ooh, son, in my wrestling days, I'd have taken you down, you big ox sumbitch, as he walks away.
I don't think you could take me down a ladder.
He looks back at you. We'll see. We'll see. He smiles. With that one sad tooth just crooked, like, hanging out. What do you do? So you're there. You've got the sun on the horizon. You know where to go. You put a bunch of ghost rock grenades on the horse now?
Yeah. No, I make sure the horse is good and watered and ready to go, and then I mount up and kind of, I imagine Ash would kind of keep pace with Silver Pete and like keep a lookout for anything while they travel.
Yeah, so he it's funny because he walks about to the edge of the camp and he's pointing. Now you just want to keep the sun over here and just head north. Head north. You know when you see it, because it's where the gap ends. There's a great big cliff. All the colors of the rainbow. All the colors of wealth. There's a little cabin there on the right. You can't miss it. I'm afraid I'm going to have to wait for you here, though. I've seen that thing once. I don't reckon I want to see it again. Till he pats Dobbs. He wrestles it to death. So you head off into the sort of distance. The interesting thing about the terrain here is it's just so most of you, are you taking the horse, Len? Okay, so you've got a horse. I think the rest of you guys are just on foot, right?
Yep.
So the sand in places, as you're walking, your foot just sinks in, like a good 3-4 inches. So it's fatiguing to kind of walk along. The horse figures it out, but about, call it 3-4 hours into the journey, the horse starts to get labored and really lathered, even though you're going pretty slow. You notice that it's treading at about, kind of 6-7 inches down into the sand. There are bits where rocks peek out of the sand here and there. So a lot of them are distant and varied, some large, some kind of medium size. But as you're walking along, you're kind of starting to realize that those might be the only safety you have in this sea of sand.
think eventually, if the horse starts to get exhausted, Ash would dismount and start walking and leading it just to conserve its energy.
Okay.
Yeah, is there any like kind of pattern to the rocks at all? Like, is it like a line we could follow, even if they're separated, just so we could be somewhat near them?
So, you could, if you chose, you could travel close to rocks at all times. It would blow the timeline out of the window in terms of distance overall, because you'd be going zigzag in all kinds of crazy places. What you can see though in the distance is you can see this ridge in the distance, and it's about this big at this point. But you're pretty clear on that's what he was pointing at, and you've got a pretty decent way to line it up. So if any of you have any navigation skills, you could probably, that would be survival. You could probably keep way while staying close to the rocks. Nate with a 4. So yeah, it's a little sketchy, but yeah. So you kind of, John mentions to you maybe we should stick close to the rocks, and you absolutely. How do you play that out as you're looking around?
Yeah, I just I sort of take John's lead and start to eye things out. I spent a lot of time out in the desert, and survival is sort of the name of my game. So leaning on past experiences, I help guide everybody from one place to the next.
So I picture as you're moving along, so you guys are running kind of lean on basic supplies. You only have the very bare minimum, and Nate's out there just finding plants that kind of house water in the roots and things like that, kind of helping you guys get by. There's an occasional murder of a rattlesnake or something like that for lunch or whatever. So you're getting to the point where the heat is just starting to play on you. You get out in the middle of this crazy bowl-shaped geographical feature, and it just starts to feel like it's going to be forever, right? The heat, the sun, the sort of man's words. Dobbs, you just start to play it over in your head. Mother Maggot, I'm going to get it with my bare hands. I'm gonna, and at which point you hear Nate kind of point. There's a little tiny square on the horizon. Looks like it could be a structure, or maybe the remains thereof. And it's a place where the ridge just kind of comes in like a bit of a horseshoe shape. What do you guys do?
So now, as we get closer to this, remember what he said. It could sense or hear or something. Could tell where he was moving around. So I think one of the only options we probably have to not be taken completely unawares would be to get on a rock as quickly as possible. Kind of look at the horse and so we'll try our best. But Dobbs, that might be a good for you jumping off point, because I know for sure you're gonna try to wrestle this thing.
I had a quick question. So is the landscape where we are, is it like flat, or is it dunes that we're traversing?
It's duney. It's not quite like crazy desert dunes, but yeah, it's fairly uneven. And there are little outcroppings of rock here or there, so it's not just a sand desert. But there are pockets of the landscape where it's almost sugary sand. It's so slight. So yeah, why were you asking? Are you trying to do something in particular, like survey something, or like is there?
No, I'm just trying to get an idea of what the landscape is like. Because like if it was very high sand dunes, then visibility and everything is going to be very, very tough. But if it's like pretty gentle dunes, then I'm just trying to get a.
Yeah, no, it's not quite to the point where you're sort of rising, and it's not like Tatooine or something like where you're losing visibility. It's more, remember, from Maggot Gap. Maggot Gap is the high sort of point, and then there's this sort of bowl of crazy sand, right? This sort of Weird West landscape that probably couldn't exist in nature for those of you who have geology experience. It's fine, but yeah, it's not that bad. So how do you move about? So that's an interesting point. Someone mentioned. So, John, you mentioned trying to stay close to rocks. Are you literally zigzagging between rock formations? Because it's like, some could be like 3 or 4 miles apart.
I don't think we're probably at that point, but I think once we get closer, like the closer we get it sounds like the more danger we're in. If this is a nest like Mr. Bang Bang described, then we should probably get safer and safer the closer we get to the nest.
I'm changing his
Mama
NPC
Maggot.
name. Mr. Bang Bang. Yeah, understood.
And
Nice.
another question was, did we have any remaining Ghost Rock explosive, or did we use it all on the sheep?
Yes, it was kind of a joke at the time, but it was that we proved the concept, and maybe we could use the horse next time.
It's kind of, I think that maybe at one point, like, Ash and John have a little bit of a powwow where, like, Ash is leading the horse, and then she kind of, like, falls into step beside John, and she's like, so, stands to reason that if we load up this here beast,
We'll see
and
how
kinda,
it goes.
I love.
you know, give it a nice smack on the rump and send it as a scout, you know?
Yeah. Isn't that right, Teddy 3?
Oh, he said it. He said Teddy 3. I love that you're back here
Don't you
conspiring.
put that evil on me, John.
I love that you're back here. You're conspiring, getting this whole plan together. And Dobbs, I picture he's walking kind of in the lead, and in his head, he's just beating the shit out of this fucking big weird worm or whatever these things look like.
He's just kind of bored, so he's just like kind of kicking sand and stomping on the ground and hopping and just kind of making whatever noise he thinks he can just by like messing with the sand.
Okay.
Because it's time to rumble.
So you're walking, and again, you've got this sort of situation where the bowl sort of comes thinking about ahead of you. If you're looking at it from an aerial view, Maggot Gap itself sits behind, and there's this big bowl, and it's probably 15, 20, 30 miles across even. You've traversed most of this, and at this point, the very northern edge of the bowl, you're kind of approaching. Obviously tired, probably hungry. It's been a long journey, just because of the labor of it, not so much the distance. There's this shoehorn shape with, and I'll go ahead and put this up. Hang on a second. Let me show it to the players. It's going to be a little out of focus. No, not too bad. You guys see that? Oh, that's the wrong view. Whoa.
Yes.
Scroll down. Anyway, go away. There it is. So the first thing that you notice is you're kind of not close enough yet to be where your characters are, but like there's this little tiny hut, right? And it's sort of haphazard. Just think way back when people built things out of these sort of clapboard little buildings. There's this wagon that looks like it just exploded. You can tell it's a wagon only because the sort of axle is still there, and it's the wheel is kind of up at an awkward angle. So it's literally like something went up high and then just pile drove through the middle of the wagon and splintered it everywhere. And from your vantage point at this point, there's a little tiny structure out behind, which is probably an outhouse, a little tiny outhouse. And then, you've got this sort of cliff wall, and the cliff itself rises up, in places like a good 35, 40 feet, in other places a little bit higher. And toward the sort of north and east, there's a really huge sort of warren that's been blown in. I just got a reminder for our game, guys, we should join. There's this huge kind of hole that's obviously been blown out, and a pile of rock and debris that you can see as you approach. What do you guys do as you kind of head in? And Dobbs is stomping along, right, at this entire time?
Yeah, just kind of lazily kicking his foot and, throwing sand and...
At one point, Ash might have given him a little tap on the shoulder and just kind of done like a little bit of like a hey, bud, like just simmer down.
Yeah, seeing Ash do that, I recognize that I'm still gonna keep a wider berth, kind of like go into like a more spread out triangular formation a little bit.
So you're saying you're like 6 miles away, just watching from a distance?
Yeah,
Yeah. So you guys, do you or do you not stop Dobbs? Is the question from the stomping, kicking.
If Ash told me to stop, then I'll stop.
Cool.
Yeah, she does a little bit of like the keep it quiet.
Normally, when I don't listen to Ash, bad things happen.
Dobbs, give me that notice with the official danger sense. As you stop kicking your foot around, you kind of spit a glob on the sand and are glancing around.
Can I join in this since I have the same thing?
Absolutely. You don't.
Or I
spit
have
the
alertness.
You don't spit the Jesus. Wow, good job.
That'd be a 12 because I didn't add the +2.
You guys are literally like that. So it's funny. We made a mistake in our Call of Cthulhu campaign with advancement, and so like one of our characters got like a 98% or something with notice. So it's like nothing that he knows everything. You guys pretty much got there. So Dobbs spits a big glob of his gnarly, tobacco spit, and then starts looking around. His head's the first to snap, but Ash, that kind of gets your attention, and you do in fact see. It literally looks like this sort of something under the sand moving very quickly, very faintly and briefly. And then it flattens back out. There's something out there in that sand. Happened right around, I guess I could ping for everybody's benefit. Kind of happened out here somewhere. How do you react to that? So Dobbs and Ash are clearly the only ones that saw it. I think that Nate and John are doing other stuff.
I definitely immediately like cock my rifle and like aim and kind of like see if I can get Nate and John's attention with this action.
Yeah, I think cocking the rifle would
immediately
stop me, and I see that happen. Hopefully, hear that happen and see and kind of like follow the gaze, but probably see nothing.
I look over at John, I try to make eye contact, and then I like look at the horse like, should I?
What is the piece of ground to the right of where our character's at on the map? Yeah.
Here? Yeah, it is a small rocky rise. So it's fairly smooth, and covered with some sort of brush, sort of little bits of sort of rough brush style, scrub style. That's the word I was searching for. Vegetation. Some more hard earth, I guess I would say.
Got it. Okay.
What do you guys do?
The ghost rock that we were carrying, was that saddled up on the horse already?
I'm gonna say yes. Yeah, because you guys weren't carrying all that stuff. I'm thinking it was on the saddlebags.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt as well, and having just kind of going back in time and hindsight being what it is, I'm thinking you repacked it before leaving with like some blankets or something, so it wasn't jostling around.
We learned.
Yeah, you'd have to.
Don't worry, Nate. You don't need to hold it.
Somebody tackle.
We covered it in sheep guts to keep it from rattling around. Yeah.
We had plenty of wool.
Yeah, more than that full. This goes so good.
Can I think I still have that ghost rock grenade launcher on my person.
I think it's over your shoulder like a badass. Like it's this weird, steampunk weapon over your shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ash gets her rifle ready, like points out, has this little exchange with John about like the horse, and then she kind of like pauses and then slings the rifle over her shoulder. And she's moving like very, very slowly, like trying not to like make tremors. And then she just slowly like pulls the rocket launcher.
Give me a smarts roll, by the way, for that rocket launcher, just for the subtleties.
What was it?
Understanding the subtleties of the smarts check.
Oh dear! Oh no! Okay.
And
no shit.
It's a projectile weapon.
It's pretty obvious. Yeah. Yeah. What's funny is you realize there is a way to load it wrong, and you're like, oh yeah. You start to, and you're like, nope. Okay, got it.
Over.
Yeah. Okay.
While I see Ash preparing for Doomsday, I kind of try to whisper and be, everybody, we're going to be real calm and quiet, and we're not going to move much until we figure out a game plan. I thought we was trying to find it. I think we found it, or at least something.
Well, let's go get it.
I'm just saying we were caught off guard by the funnel creature. I think
These
you
two are
were
like bickering, and like Nate is slowly making his way over towards the rock.
Yeah, no, I'm joining Nate. I'm so on my way.
Yeah.
These two are like, well, we're gonna find
that's
it.
fair.
Now listen here, Doc.
Yeah. Please
So
move yourselves.
is that like a busted up wagon?
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
It is.
I was like, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go get this thing.
I slowly go the opposite direction.
So I'm gonna go over and I'm just gonna go over to where that wagon is and get one of the boards,
All right.
and I'm just gonna.
Actually, sorry. As soon as I see him doing that and Ash is going over towards the hard earth, I'm gonna kind of take the reins and just kind of hold the horse there so it's not moving.
Okay. So move yourselves to where you head.
I can't move my character.
Same.
All right. Jeez. Come on, Jones. Sorry, guys.
Apparently, Ash.
We can all see that. Yeah, Lenny's your favorite. We get that in there.
Listen,
Yeah.
she's who
Ash escapes, the rest of us die.
she's who matters
ahead, guys.
at the moment. Who is
Move
that?
out of the way.
Well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you each the control of a different character, just to
Really
punish
nice
you. All right, so that's that. So John, you've got yours. Dobbs, you should have yours as soon as roll 20 saves, and Nate is Mikey. Save. Okay, you guys should be good.
There we go.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. All right. So we can move now, yeah. Okay, so it's like everybody's fucking standing on this rock. I love it. Except for John, who's just like, oh, I'll stay away.
and Dobbs.
Yeah, I'm going to get to Dobbs in a second. There's a reason I didn't mention
cool.
Dobbs.
Awesome.
John, what do you do? Can you move yourself now?
Yeah, I'm going to just stay next to the horse and make sure that doesn't move because I'm thinking that's a pretty heavy creature.
Okay.
Attracted.
So let's just, before we get into the realness of the situation, what's on the horse? What remains on the horse? Who has what that was on the horse before? Do you strip it down? Do you part out the ghost rock stuff or whatever?
I mean, I imagine that Ash would be carrying all of her stuff, so that includes the flamethrower, her rocket launcher, guns. I guess I take the bedroll off of it.
Just in case you need a nap while you're fucking murdering everything? Okay.
I might need that later.
Yeah. All right, so Ash is the arsenal. John, you're there with the horse. You guys kind of move over, sort of. I picture you kind of shaggy creep walking like Scooby-Doo over toward this rock, while Dobbs, you're walking over toward the wagon. How are you? So focusing on Dobbs. So the camera's like on Dobbs. How are you approaching? Are you Chumbawamba tub thump walking, or what? Are you slowly approaching, Byron? What are you doing?
Over to the wagon?
Yes. How is your approach?
Just dumbingly just stomping over there. Like that's my focus.
Okay. Give me that notice with the danger sense added in, please.
That's going to be a 5 with the +2.
Oh, that came through. Okay. Sorry, it didn't make a noise. And I can't see it because my microphone's right there. So yeah, you're walking, and you get about to... Where are you? Hang on. You get about to here. You're walking. You can see the wagon. It's clear to you a couple things you notice as you're approaching. For one, in the periphery, the house itself is a little crooked. You don't know if that's a construction or something that's happened like event-wise. Also, you notice this wagon. Picture like, your typical good-sized wagon, like a 2-horse kind of wagon. That could have been a covered wagon, but without the cover. Maybe the cover rotted or was whatever. Picture just like a meteorite just fucking plows its way through the center of this thing and splinters it everywhere. So there's like parts of it, even as far away as where your character's standing. The majority of the structure's there. But the thing that really jumps out and clicks your spidey sense is that through the sand that comes out sort of from behind it. What do you do immediately in that moment when you notice there's movement in the sand? How do you react?
I'm gonna try to feint it. As not a feint as an edge allows me to make him use his smarts for fighting instead of agility. And I'm gonna kind of like do a little tiptoe footwork dance and see if I can convince it to go to the side of me instead of directly at me. And if it comes up, I'm just gonna punch it as hard as I can.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you partial credit, just because that's amazing. I get the intention behind that is more brawly. But so there's this moment, guys, where the camera's like over Dobbs' shoulder, and he's looking, and he sees this thing, and so he starts to do the weird football thing, and this little hump in the sand's like, you're gonna gain the initiative over this thing. However, layer, let me put it on the right layer. So you're about, hang on, let me move him. Come on, roll 20. This is where we need Len, the roll 20 fucking wizard. Okay, so this thing is, and you literally jump off to the side, and it gets off to the side and pops up, thinking it's gonna bite you, and you're over here. So you're gonna get a free action against this thing. It is about 8 feet tall. It is literally a segmented, crusty-looking, like dun-colored, armored worm, and its mouth opens, and another mouth kind of projects from in, just and just strikes the sand. What do you do?
Well, the first thing I'm gonna do is kind of laugh at it, and I'll be like, "Yep, I figured you just as stupid as a damn worm." And I'm gonna punch it as hard as I can.
Fucking punch it. I love it. I love it so much. I love everything about you punching a giant armored worm in the side and probably killing it with one strike. Okay.
So that'll be 11.
And
then 8 for damage.
Let me get its character sheet up. Woo, 11. So you were going after its parry. So you succeed by far with a raise as well. And what was damage?
Damage was 8.
Ooh, only. So you just haul off and punch it, and Dobbs, you feel the jarring of this impact with this plate, and you feel it try to give, but it rocks you all the way up to the shoulder. It hurts, and you do not seem to hurt it.
So I'm gonna also use my other edge, which is two-fisted, which allows me an extra offhand punch.
Bring it.
So I'm gonna be like,
yep, bring it
in with the other one too.
Yep.
That'd be a 9 to hit him.
9 versus parry, no, not happening this time.
Yep.
So you hit and you kind of swing, but I'm thinking I mean, this thing's pretty good size, right? So you kind of you graze it. So you're boom, and then and as you look, I mean, the most comical situation is you tricked it, and so it's got a mouthful of sand that it's dealing with. Right, so it's like, oh, this weird. It lifts its head back up and shrieks with this sort of weird proboscis mouth, spitting sand everywhere. The rest of you see this. How do you guys react to this? This fucking thing is big. There's 8 feet of it sticking out of the sand.
I mean, I feel like I had a readied action.
I think you probably do.
Gonna...
I think I'll give you a shot before we get into actual initiative, and I have to do the thing with Roll20 that makes everything get weird. So, Len, why don't you shoot it? Why don't you do the thing that you do while I add a turn for this creature?
So, I've got a question.
Yes.
How do I rocket launcher or grenade launcher?
How do you rocket launcher? I'm gonna.
How do
I explode it?
Okay, it's a shooting roll. It's a shooting roll. Now the kicker is, and you don't. I'm not gonna. Well, actually, you know what? I'll give you a smarts roll. The kicker is where it lands. There's an area of an effect, right?
Oh no!
Right. So, and you know dynamite, and I'm gonna say, hey, you remember Teddy 2. You remember Teddy 2 and the explosion that Teddy 2 made. So just keep that in mind. So I'll give you a smarts roll to determine placement. So if you succeed with your smarts and your shot, never mind. So now your shot's going to hit where you think it should. But there could
I
be
will
some
say Ash is aiming for like its back, like not the side of it that's engaged with Dobbs, like the other end of it.
Okay.
Not super great.
Ooh, I got it right. Sorry, I'm like sciencing with my. There we go. So this is your shot. So you what is your goal? So actually, it's a decent shot, right? So you score a 6. Target number's 4. Where are you trying to put this explosive thing? Right in the middle of the creature? On
I would say middle to back. Like, obviously its face is engaged with Dobbs, and I don't want to blow Dobbs up. And I think, like you said, she knows at least how explosives work. So she wants to put it in the middle of the creature so that if it explodes in the creature, it'll be like, you know, mid to tail section.
So I would assess that as probably a -2. And so you'll still be at 4 with your 6. So you sort of cock this thing, and remember, it's this weird steampunk brass and wood kind of, you're just like, okay, and you pull back the lever. Instead of hearing like you should, you hear like, oh shit, and you see this sort of trail, this sort of spinning trail of ghost rock gas behind, and it does land right behind it. Please roll me 1d12. So there's this so Dobbs, you're kind of fist fighting with this thing, and it's spitting, and it kind of, you know, whatever, and then suddenly out of nowhere there's this huge explosion. Sand flies everywhere, getting in your eyes, and then the mass of this creature is propelled forward. Please give me an agility roll. Or athletics, if you prefer. Either way. Let's see how you dodge out of the way of this big worm that you're fist fighting with.
I'll take agility since I have that better than I do athletics.
Sure, it works. It's fine. All right, so you got a 6. So you roll out of the way as this thing just kind of gets launched forward. Now, what's crazy is you're looking, and it's about 8 probably in total, 12 feet long. It's now laid out flat. It seems to have taken some burn damage on the back, and there's like, you know, some little bits of fire around here and there, and sort of this ghost rock glare. Moving now into initiative order. So we're going to jump to Dobbs. So Dobbs, you hit the ground, and you are now in it. Like, it's time. What do you do? So you're prone, so you get free action, you can stand up. What do you do from there?
I'm going to stand up and try to just, like, as I get up, just kind of Mike Tyson, like, uppercut it the bottom of the jaw. Okay, so
it's been propelled forward, so it's actually flat. Okay. So if you stand up, you're standing over it. Diameter-wise, this thing's probably about, say, 3.5, 4 feet, maybe. But so you're standing up, and it's just been propelled forward and done kind of like a face plant.
I got the most horrible idea.
Do it. What is your horrible?
Don't you ride it, Dobbs.
I'm gonna take my belt and just kind of slap it around its mouth and grab the other side of the belt and kind of use it like a gag and see if I can't climb on its back.
Give me a fighting roll for that belting. I'm not sure what one would call belt combat. Fetish play? I don't know. Okay, moving on. Yes. So you literally just like you've done this 1,000 times. Slow-mo as it whips around the side, you catch it and pull it back. And then what? As it thing's pretty strong, it starts to kind of like lean its head back.
I'm gonna ride it like that bull I did back at Stokes Stadium.
All right. So you're this will be riding rolls as needed, but it's going to be at -4 because normally, like, you know, kind of an unwilling whatever is going to be. This is like at a severely unwilling mount. Okay, so next up in initiative is John. So John, the sand maggot hasn't even acted yet. So John, what do you do? So you see this, and it's hard to believe. What do you do?
Well, with the explosion, and now I'm seeing Dobbs riding this thing, I'm terrified of actually making a shot or anything at it. The pessimistic side of me is thinking, I was expecting something that could like swallow us whole. So I'm trying to be optimistic here and think this is it, but I'm pretty terrified this is like a baby, like you mentioned. So I'm going to keep a lookout and still like holding on the horse of like we're not moving yet.
Okay.
And then I have a card ready though.
Okay.
To throw once I think I have like a clear shot at something.
Got it. So you're going to hold your action watching this. Nate, what are you doing? Actually, I'm sorry. Next up in initiative is Sand Maggot. I'm sorry, Nate. I'm going to assume you're like, what the... So the Sand Maggot...
that's good. I need more time to shit my pants.
So the Sand Maggot is going to start doing what any good creature does under a situation like this, and it's going to panic. So please, Dobbs, give me a riding roll as it starts to move around like crazy. It suddenly lifts up, so you're now like a good 6 feet in the air with your belt through its mouth, and it's writhing around, trying to sling you off.
So I don't really have riding.
That's unfortunate.
So, however, Murph tries to kick me off all the time.
I'm going to give you an agility.
He's pretty stubborn.
I'm going to give you agility, but it's going to have to be he's not quite this stubborn. So agility at -1, just for kicks. Okay.
Lord.
So this thing is straight up slinging you around, and you're holding on only by a belt, and you're just like probably like, yeah. Picture you're like raising one hand like a bull rider, right? Just yeah. So you hang on as it. Then what you didn't expect though is its dive into the sand.
No, I expected that.
So it's yeah, and you're yeehaw, and it just goes to dive straight down, and you see the sand like through your, the camera kind of. So the benefit of your agility success there is you kind of roll off of it. However, it does take your belt under, and it's struggling to get under the sand. Obviously, with the whole situation, you see kind of its tail there.
So my question was, since I had the belt in its mouth, what my plan was to keep it from doing that was to pull back as hard as I could, so that it couldn't go face down. It would cause it to, you know what I mean? It wouldn't be able to maybe go with the right angle.
Go neck down first. Okay. I'll give you that. So, yeah, give me strength. Why would I ever ask you to roll strength, though? Seriously. That's a bad GM decision. What's your lowest stat? Roll that. With a -10.
My lowest stat?
No, I'm kidding. Just roll strength.
Smart.
So, so a 5.
Obviously. Yeah, 5.
So, you stop the exact dive, and that's probably the only thing that saves your belt, which you let it flip. But this thing does dig in and start to kind of weasel its way down into the sand. You roll off unharmed for the moment, but you've not won this one. John, you see this. You've held your action. You're there with a card. You see Dobbs roll off of this thing and the kind of back half of this creature moving along. What do you do?
I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to whip out a charged up card.
The wild die saves you as you kind of fling it, hit it in the butt. And you are going to roll damage for 5. So this thing kind of bling, and you see the card hit it. And then you see a part of its sort of chitinous kind of carapace, this sort of armor, kind of flakes off. Like, yeah, I made a dent. You don't hear any reaction beyond that. It's just eerily and silently down into the sand.
Okay.
Ash, give me a notice roll from your vantage point after having fired and watching all this and also having danger sense. Wow. So, a couple raises there. You can trace this thing. It seems like it's on a mission. It's headed toward the hole. The great big hole. Also, Dobbs is standing up, stretching. What are you popping your neck or whatever? Like, what? How are you reacting to what just happened? You're not the least bit phased by this shit, are you?
Nope. Not bad for a first ride, if you ask me.
Don't get too comfortable there, Dobbs. Might be more inside that cave.
Well, I'm hoping, because 1 doesn't look like enough.
I am confident in your abilities, Dobbs, with perhaps the one that's still bigger than you. Don't get me wrong, but if that does happen to be a baby, perhaps we should go with the horse method.
Sure.
I'm just reloading the grenade launcher right now.
Nice.
Should we try to get in the house? Do we think that's gonna work? Like, I feel like a sitting duck out here. I know, and I know you guys are on some like hard ground, but is that gonna hold up?
This doesn't feel as safe as it looks there, John. If you have another idea, I am all ears.
The kind of like plateau next to the definitely not disconcerting skeletons. Is that scalable?
You don't have a drone.
Is this, Jason, is this also, like, is this the hole that the thing is headed towards? Or is that just like a little art thing on the map? Is it headed towards this
They're
way?
all over the place.
Yeah.
Those little holes are all over
Oh,
the place.
yeah, I see it.
So
Oh.
as Ash is looking around, because Len is amazing, and also because she would be like, who made this map? Yeah, they are all over the place. And, interestingly, I'd like to point out, there's one right there. So yeah.
Mr. Bang Bang mentioned dynamite. Perhaps we could find that in the house and employ that somehow. Maybe seal it off. But no, that doesn't really work, does it?
Hey, fellas, I'm gonna leave the planning to y'all down here. I think I'm gonna head for the high ground up here on this ridge and see if I can't get a better vantage point from up on them cliffs.
Sounds like a good call. Maybe I'll join you. Oh no, I can stay with the horse.
Ash starts booking it.
I'll look after Ash. Make sure she's all right.
Oh, Dobbs is like, I'll just fist fight every damn one of them. So, okay, you go. Are you gonna try to be easy with your movements as you go, Ash?
As easy as one can be when they're quickly trying to make their way from, I guess, here to like here, and then eventually up to here if they can.
Yep. So let's have stealth at -2.
Oh, not good.
Ouch. Okay. So what? That'd be 3. Okay. So you're kind of
She starts to sprint and then immediately has a coughing fit.
yes, it's as you you're running along, right, and you kind of cough, and it's one of those bad ones with the black bloody whatever, and you stop and you got your hands on your knees, or one of them because the other one's got this big ass like crazy grenade launcher thing, and you and you cough, and you're looking and you see the sand is just like, as these little itty bitty worms start to eat at the pieces of your lung that you just barfed out all over the place. You realize they're under your feet. You can almost feel them tickling the soles of your boots. It is a nest.
Oh, I don't like that at all. If she just keeps booking it if she can.
You make your way up to the rise. Nate, are you with her?
Yeah.
Okay, so you witness the coughing fit, and the first thing you see is when she coughs out that sort of that blood. That's not good, right? But then of course there's this moment where the two of you just look at each other, realizing what you see in the sand down there, but then book it on up to the ridge. So go ahead and move your tokens to where you belong. John, you're staying right in the middle of harm's way with the horse. Just you and this horse. What is that dialogue?
No, I'm gonna actually try to like put the reins down and anchor it if there's like a small rock or something nearby, and anchor it, and then try to carefully move towards the house.
I'm gonna assume, like a dick, you find a cactus kind of over to this side. That's about the closest thing to get this thing to tie up to, like a little rock at which you run away with it. So you do. You're gonna move toward the house.
Yeah.
How are you going to move?
I'm going to try to carefully move towards the house and, if time allows, search for any dynamite.
Give me some stealth. And Dobbs, are you going to sync up with John? You see kind of this movement going on. Are you going to try to sync up with him, or? Nice. Okay.
So we just left the horse just sitting there?
You see him tie the horse up to a cactus.
Yeah, kind of like in the back, because I don't want...
Here.
My mind says I don't want a baby getting him. I want to save him for the mama. So I'm hoping the dynamite will suffice for any of the small ones.
Okay.
But we'll probably need you to make noise for especially the small ones to attract them.
Right. All right. Well, I can make noise, I guess. That's what you want me to do, right?
Maybe like wait a second though.
No, you said make noise.
Even before the sentence is over.
So I'm gonna come over about halfway right here, and I'm gonna like reach up and I'll pull a Gertrude, which is my big double barrel shotgun.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pull it out, and I'm gonna just kind of point it out at the sand, maybe about 10 feet away from me, and I'm just gonna go boom, and just pull the trigger and shoot into the sand.
Nice.
I'm 10 feet away from you.
Yeah,
Well,
actually, that's true.
I mean, not your direction, but like a direction, 10 feet away. You know, like 10 feet away from you and 10 feet away from me.
Move yourself next to John, and then this becomes moot. I'm thinking you're walking together, and then you sort of shoot out into the sand as John, you're looking toward the house. And sure as hell, within moments, you see emerging from this sort of hole over here. And Dobbs, I'm thinking line of sight, right? So like probably yeah, probably both of you. Yep. There's movement, and then there's this sort of surfing around of the underneath the sand, to about kind of say right around in here where you shot those buckshot, and then it sort of circles around and disappears. Like it definitely picked up on that. What do you guys do?
I'm going to step into the house and try to quickly find dynamite.
Quick, step into the house, find dynamite. Make a find dynamite roll. So you step into the house. So the house itself. What's that, Dobbs?
I was just gonna say, look for Snowball.
Yeah.
Snowball.
So as you step in, the first thing that you realize is that something about the structure, it's crooked, right? It's not quite right. So the door is a little harder than usual to open. It's very meager. You're talking about a bedroll essentially laid out on a handmade cot kind of situation. There's a little bit of a fire hole, more so than kind of against a back wall. There's a big fur rug. You're not sure what kind of critter, maybe a deer or something that looks like his pride possession, maybe. A couple things that you notice with a notice roll. Maybe. Yeah. So the wild die saves you with a 9. So you're looking around, you notice a couple things. In your periphery, there's clearly what looks to be a ladder going into a hole. And there's blood tracked. It's old, it's brown, like really old, but there's a good bit of it, like quite a lot of it. And also, there's this little bone, like maybe a leg bone or something, right there by the ladder going down. You're not 100% certain what's happening there. There's a bedroll. There's what looks to have been a bucket, like a night bucket kind of thing. Basic cooking supplies. And then there's 3 good-sized crates of dynamite.
Oh, yes.
Like 12 sticks apiece.
Wow. Okay.
But no matches. You've got 0
Well, there
matches.
are no matches.
You can shoot dynamite. I googled it.
And besides, man, this is a Weird West, so we do what we want. So, and it appears as if, as you look at this, it's like there's a little table with some kind of like old plate, like an old sort of a tin, like camp style plate. It looks like he was sitting on the dynamite crates as his chair to eat at night.
There's all Mr. Bang Bang.
Globs of silver here or there, kind of like, you know, little bits of ore and whatnot. The troubling bit is the trail of obvious blood.
As concerning as it is, I'm gonna put that to the back of my mind for now. I'm gonna scoop up a handful of dynamite, which is a weird phrase, and I pull out my trusty lighter as well. Do they have like fuses on them?
They do.
Okay, perfect. And then I will, provide I have time or the next turn or whatever that may be, I'm gonna step outside, light one, and just like huck it.
Fuck. Okay.
Hope it attracts their attention before it explodes. Like when it thuds to the ground is kind of my mindset.
Okay. So you step into the house. So, Dobbs, you shot out there and you're watching this thing surfing around in the sand. You see John in your periphery step into the house. What are you doing during this time? You're muted, I think. Yeah.
Got nothing but bad ideas today.
Good day.
No, just today, right? Yeah, just today.
You did try to write it, right?
Yeah. That worked.
Tried my ass. I got that thing.
I got that shit. I surfed that shit like Legolas on a shield. Let's see here. Well, I got an idea, so I'm just gonna kind of stand still for a minute. And I'm like, hey Ash,
Hey.
what if you shoot the sand?
Yeah, I'll get in there. She swaps to her rifle. And
I know this is gonna sound kind of crazy, but why don't you shoot the sand, and when it comes out, I'll run over and put dynamite in its mouth.
okay, now listen there, Dobbs. I can shoot the sand, but you might want to stand back a bit in case. Has the dynamite flown yet?
No, there's no notion of there actually being dynamite yet. So this will probably be within just. I'm thinking John opens the door. He's looking around, trying to figure stuff out. Like there's probably 2 or 3 minutes is gonna have to lapse there for that search, I think.
Okay.
But you know what he's looking for. He said it out loud, so I think that's fair. That's a fair thing.
I mean, I don't know, Dobbs. Maybe just hold your position where you are for now, in case you need to wrestle one when it gets close.
Well, it ain't gonna get close if I don't move.
All right. I'm gonna shoot the sand where I last saw this thing over here.
Okay.
Do it close enough I can run over to it.
Hey, and there's a glob. Let me do this with actual physical stuff real quick. So you shoot. First shot, not so much. Second shot, minding bullets if you're lean on them. Where about ping the map where you shoot when he says, closer.
Probably, I still don't want it to be too close, but probably about here.
Okay. So Dobbs, interestingly, there's an eruption in the sand right about there. As this thing is moving away from you, suddenly attracted to the fact that there's a impact of the sand. You're standing more or less still, talking, and somehow the vibrations of your feet, it was moving toward you. She just distracted it, and what do you do?
Well, if it just erupted from the sand, it's moving away as fast as I can.
It's going toward that shot.
After it.
Okay. Fuck. Okay.
I'm gonna catch it and just try to punch it in the back of the head as hard as I can.
Okay, so you're gonna run up behind it. I'll take that as your movement. So you'll just kind of it's pretty close, and it's kind of rearing up for an attack. I'm thinking, John, at this point, there's a noise outside, but you're just like, that is dynamite for sure, right? There's this kind of moment. Dobbs, you attack it. You're gonna get a +1 because it doesn't know you're there. So give me that that fighting roll against its parry, which actually I'm going to give it you're shooting against 5, and you rolled a 5. So you punch the back of its head. Doesn't it roll damage? I'm going to click roll damage. Oh wait, we both roll damage. Oh. I'll take yours. All right. So no, it's okay. So it's hilarious. So just picture this, everyone, because this is so funny to me. Like, this is like a miniature dune sandworm, right? He comes, it's raising up like it's gonna pounce at this bullet impact. Dobbs comes up behind it and just fucking nails it in the back of the head, and it is now shaken. And it's just like ding, and then its little worm head is just kind of like, Urgh. Ash, you're in this moment. What do you do? So it's higher than him by a couple feet, probably, at least. It's in front of him, so you could, if you fumble, you might shoot him in the back. That'd be bad. Nate Ash, I would ask.
I trust myself to be a good shot, so I'm gonna just take another shot with the carbine.
Okay.
Oh, those are famous last words.
Yeah, we'll see. Not today, friend.
So you see her tighten up and just kind of hone in, and Dobbs, you hear this past your head. It's a familiar sound, and it strikes this thing. Go ahead and roll for damage for me.
Yeah.
11. So yeah, so it's going to take a wound. So again, for those of you out there watching in internet land, if you go above the toughness, it advances damage, and that's all that the points really matter. So it is now wounded, which it's an extra. So now Dobbs, you're like, oh, and then you hear, and then it just like and lays out, and it's dead.
Nate cheers. Like he doesn't know what to do. He's so like caught up in the moment and this anticipation and watching Dobbs fight this worm, and he's just like, just get him, and then yeah, and he like totally like not paying attention to the fact that he really shouldn't be drawing attention. He erupts with cheer for Dobbs. He's so excited.
So at this point, John, you come out with a handful of big ass. You kind of run out and you got this giant handful wad of dynamite. What'd you say? 1D, 2D10 sticks or something. I don't know. You just got a wad of dynamite in your hands. 13 sticks of dynamite. Lucky 13. You've got, and you come running out like, hey, Dobbs, and you realize he's standing there all muscly as he is, and there's a dead fucking sand maggot right in front of him.
Well, damn, Dobbs. Well done.
Nate just sees Ash just like ask for a cigarette and shake her head, and like she reloads the rifle.
So
do we? I guess I'm asking Dobbs. Do you see any other ones?
Well, I think there's more, but I don't see them.
Well, okay then. I'm gonna.
Why don't you run around in the sand and we'll see if one comes up.
Hold on, Dobbs. Let's use the tried and true method. And I'll fire again.
I was kidding.
So you do that.
Oh man, I'm getting kind of low on bullets.
You kapow. And sure as hell, within, it's not immediate. It's not like, it's not like a video game exactly, but it's like you shoot, then there's a couple of minutes of awkwardness. And then there's this sort of shifting through the sand. But then, Dobbs, you feel the ground, like your feet, you're out there in the middle of it, you're standing there with this dead worm. You feel the ground, something large, something stirred at a distance, and you're feeling it, its sort of presence reverberating through the ground. It's probably not this little fella that's surfing along under the sand. What do you do? Ash's shot definitely stirred the one by this hole.
By which hole?
Can you see the ping? This one?
No, I don't see the ping. Oh, okay. Now I see
this one right here.
That's far away.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
She shot out in here somewhere.
Well, lay the stick of dynamite whenever I can and just chuck it that direction.
give me...
No real aim or anything, just as far as I can throw it.
You give me an athletics roll.
Ooh.
Mainly, it's got to be a throw, but I just want to make sure you don't roll double ones. Okay, good. Yeah. So you just like fling it. And it's with that same anticipation that you had as a kid, like when you light the firecracker and the fuse is fast, right? And you're just like, shit, this could be my finger, but you're like, oh, this could be my friend's. But you throw it, and it's just a huge explosion, kind of out there on the other side of the outhouse, out in the middle of the sand.
So what's the like time difference between lighting and it exploding? So like just a few seconds?
No, it's not quite that slow. No, you've got quite a long fuse there, and you could cut it shorter if you wanted to be quicker, right? But it's
Okay.
quite a long fuse because this is meant for mining. It's not like, hey, let me just blow myself up or whatever.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like it to land still lit is kind of my goal.
Okay.
So
Okay.
hopefully the thud will attract something.
So
And then I call up to Ash. Can you shoot next to the dynamite?
Yeah. Who do you think you're talking to? And so I actually do need to like reload the rifle, which I think takes like a round.
Yes.
So I will do that.
So I love this moment, right, where the music. Think about this in your head, this cinematic scene where the camera's panning along, Ash is reloading, you're trying to figure out this shit with the fuse. Dobbs is there looking over his kill. The ground's kind of reverberating. He's the only one who's really feeling that. John maybe to a lesser extent, but he's keenly aware. Then there's this moment when the whole sand in this area, so for 4 squares in front of Dobbs, starts to really kind of shift and shake. And this thing appears.
Oh, damn.
And I picture Dobbs there, looking at his kill with pride. And then suddenly, like he's not even looking at it, in front of him, there's this column of flesh rising up and sand as he looks up, and Mother Maggot appears. Dobbs, what do you do? We're going to start ourselves a new initiative, but I'm going to give you first blush. What do you do as this thing pops up in your face?
Okay, so John threw the dynamite and the dynamite blew up, or this was attracted by...
Yes, John has thrown the dynamite. So there's a couple things going on. So Ash shot, there was a dynamite blow, or it could be the dead kid. You don't know which, but one of those things has attracted this big-ass worm. And when I say big, it's probably about 25-ish feet in total if you had to guess between what you saw under the sand and above. So what's above you is probably 14, 15 feet. Big worm.
How big is that one that's right in front of me?
Out of the sand was about 8 feet, so about half that size.
So when I was on it, could I tell like how much it weighed?
The last one, 3 cattle, probably. Yeah, like you
so
precise. Like it weighed a bit. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let me move this to the right spot. There it is. And again, just from your perspective, Dobbs, just picture like the ground in front of you erupts, and you're sort of like. And it's just like it might be about to curve straight back down, kind of thing.
Well, I think I'm just gonna reach back and grab Gertrude, and bring it right out around and put it in its mouth and just pull the trigger.
Okay. All right. So, those of you from a distance. So, Ash, you literally you click your rifle in place, and you hear this, and you look, and you literally see this scene where Dobbs is just like. Oh, and reaching up toward this giant worm. Nate, what do you do? How are you reacting to this? You stoked?
So Nate was incredibly excited, and he's like, yes, we're getting this. And then this thing bursts out of the ground, and his jaw just drops. He's got nothing. And so he just sort of yells, "Dobbs, look out!" As though like he doesn't see this thing in front of him. Like, he doesn't. What are you gonna do? You just move. I don't know.
John, you?
I'm gonna start running back towards the horse.
All right.
Just immediately.
Okay.
Drop the dynamite. I'm going towards the horse.
So am I seeing? Okay, so 15. Okay, so Dobbs, you basically, this thing comes up, it arches over, and is bearing down at you. It's clear that it's after you. It's not after the noise. It's almost as if it has some level of understanding that you might have killed one of its young. And that's kind of how you guys are thinking of each other. You reach up and just blast this thing in the face. Let me bring up Mother Maggot's sheet real quick, just so I can see what's going on with her stats. Pop her out. She's pretty. So let me see. So four will actually hit it. So her toughness, though. So you shoot, and you can literally see. There's like a quick sort of skittering of the buckshot across her maw. You see a tooth fly out, but that's about it. I'm going to give you an athletics check to avoid the thing that she's trying to do to you. Wow. So the wild die save. So 11 on the wild die. So you see it, and as you realize this, she's maybe 4 or 5 feet above your head. You roll off to the side, and she just impacts with the sand, and everything's just, and you're literally thrown up about 4 or 5 feet away, rolling, as she just eats it into the sand, and her body kind of curls over. What do the rest of you guys do? So this is between the two of them. We now jump into formal initiative. Let me add a turn for Mother Maggot and redeal some cards. So that's gonna be John and Nate. What are you guys doing? So John first.
I don't see us in turn order, but
you should be there now.
The horse.
You should be
Maggot, oddly enough.
Yeah, that's the only one I see too.
Oh, that's really weird.
Same.
Yeah, same.
That's really weird. So I'm looking at you guys, and I can see all of you. So I'll just call it out. So John, you're up first. Okay. You got an 8 of hearts, or of yeah.
Perfect. Let's see. 6. Got my measure on this thing. Let's see. So that's 6. I think I can make it back to like where the horse was.
Yes.
Around there. I grab the reins, and I'm going to hold my action. Well, never mind. I guess that's probably my turn. I hold the reins, and I'm kind of.
Well, so you run up. I'm going to see you run up and snatch the reins. What's your intent? Just so we understand what's going on there.
Yeah, my intent is my thought is it's going to come down, and once it's underground, I want to like smack the horse's ass and like send it flying off towards the direction of like the wall, the far wall. Okay.
So you run up, you snatch your reins, you kind of face the horse in the general direction that you think you need it to go. Nate, what are you doing? So you kind of in the corner of your eye, you see John running off, you see Dobbs in the middle of this bad situation. What's going on?
Yeah.
Good luck.
I have no idea. Ash, what do we do? What do we do?
You just look over and you see Ash switching weapons back to the grenade launcher.
But
we should use the booming one. That's a good idea.
This brings us back to Dobbs. So Dobbs, you're there. This thing has now kind of dove in. You've rolled off to the side. I'm going to imagine that Dobbs, being the strapping guy that he is, sort of is able to stand up with a free action. What do you do?
It dove into the sand, or
it's dove into the sand, like it was trying to swallow you. Basically, you dodged out of the way, and it is now dove into the sand and is going under and doing whatever the hell it's doing. The entire sand around you, just picture like the ocean when it's really choppy.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. And you're just like, whoa, shit. What do you do?
So it got fully into the sand, or can I still see any of it?
You can see parts of it. Mostly the tail end of it at this point.
Okay. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to feint it when it comes back up again.
Nice.
So it won't affect it on this turn, but I'm gonna try to like jump around a little bit from like different places and see if I can convince it to come back. And I'm gonna be like, John, get that dynamite ready.
What is let me ask you, so with your feinting, is there a roll associated with that?
No, it just makes it use its
smarts for okay, got it.
Smarts instead of agility.
Oh, that's
for
so
its fighting.
Super awful. You're a
I mean,
dick.
Red.
I just want to say you're a dick, is what you did. Like, you ruined poor Mother Maggot. I'm just saying she's not a PhD, is what she's not. So she's under there.
She could have been smart. She's trying to hunt us down.
And you're dancing around. You're dancing around and doing whatever. I picture like you're like, all right. You're doing like some kind of weird river dance or something. And then, sure as shit, she comes up, because her turn is right after Dobbs. She comes up literally about an inch away from you, just throwing you off your feet. Give me an agility roll, please, to see if you can maintain your footing. Can I put her there? She's not.
No.
She's between you and the house. Oh, shit. All right, so it wasn't quite a critical failure, but she does throw you just because of the shifting of the sand. She puts you on your ass, so you're going to have to deal with a free action to get to your feet when it comes around your turn.
Can I use a Benny?
Yeah,
You
I was
sure
going to
can.
say, I have the ability to give somebody a Benny before the end of their turn, and that would be something that Nate would absolutely want to be able to help.
Yep, do it.
Is,
okay.
Like, so as this whole churn and everything, Nate would yell, look out, Dobbs, she's coming up on the right. So hopefully that gives him an extra chance to make a move.
Yep, exactly. So go ahead and spend that Benny, the free Benny that you just got from Nate.
Reroll the agility.
Yes.
Well, I had one anyway, but
Yep.
Yeah, but let me give you one. Just
It's a
take
free.
that.
Woo!
Oh,
Almost the
shit,
same fucking
no
roll. How's that
way.
possible? That's amazing. So you say
exactly
that,
the same.
and Dobbs is like, "What?" And then, sure as shit, it happens just the same. You kind of fall off. At the end of the day, though, you confused it, and it came up victorious, like gulp, like it had just eaten you. And literally, it stands up full height in the air, which brings us around, ironically, to Ash in the turn order. So this column of monster flesh, mouth wide open, rises up right next to Dobbs. What do you do?
I should not do this, but I think I have to. I want to fire the grenade launcher.
All right. Remember, you got bennies. Make that roll so you get a thunk. You do that.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So
Your rolls are like on fire.
I'm just going to
Jeez.
step back from this narrative. Len, how does what does it look like? I don't know. Just the before you roll damage. What does it look like?
I think what she does is that first shot she took with this thing down on the ground, that was a test run to figure out the weapon and get the arc right and everything. And now she's on high ground, she's in her element. Nate is doing whatever he's doing, but she's cool as a cucumber, and she just watches this thing coming up, trains the grenade launcher and fires, and is aiming to get it right in the open mouth. And I think, I don't know if that's still going to be a -2, but
it would, but so roll. give me some damage, because you got a bit of a razor. You're shooting for 4, so that's almost 2 raises. But so give me damage roll.
what is the damage? Is it D12?
It is.
Is it just 1D12?
Actually, with that level, I'm going to say double that, because it's sort of within the blast range. Like at ground zero, I'm going to say it's double. We're making this up because this is a fantasy weapon, so internet. Don't fact check
What?
me. Yeah.
There's a fair amount of dynamite beneath it as well. Just throwing that out there. that I dropped.
Can I spend a penny to re-roll that?
Can you re-roll damage with the Benny? I think you can. I don't. Maybe yes.
No, double ones.
Yeah.
It's not double ones as in the wild die double one. That was 2 individual 12s that rolled as ones, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. So, but here's well, seriously. So, this thing is just you see this, and as it's sort of up there, like you see some smoke kind of shoot out of this thing's nostrils. And there is a moment where it's just like, what the fuck did I get myself into? Probably, where it's, but it does not, in fact, die. However, Ash, extra points for your badassery there. John, what the okay, so you're there with a horse. You're just like, okay, I got you. You start to pat its ass, and you see this thing into the worm's mouth. What do? You got your hand ready to hit the horse ass.
Oh, I'm smacking it.
Smack.
Like, I don't like, animal violence at all, but smack.
Smack that ass. All right, give me a persuasion roll. Because, I mean, the scariness of your smack versus what just happened up there and the horse's decision. Right?
There.
All right, so, man, you just like, and it goes running that direction. Just the horse itself. No, nothing. So
Well, with the saddle on it.
right.
And stuff. Yeah.
So, dynamite or anything? Nothing. Just this horse, right? So
Well, it's got ghost rock in the saddlebags.
no, she took it all. You think it does. That's the funny part.
No, I would have left. I thought that I left the explosive ghost rock on there, but
All
I
right.
took the grenade launcher, unless that was one and the same.
They are one and the same. They are one and the
okay.
same. I'm gonna
Shoot.
say you split it in half. Let's just for sake of getting
Okay.
past it. There's half. So you think that
Cool.
yes. So what's great is I'm gonna go in from the worm state of mind. Worm is getting punched, which is really weird for the worm. It's got a grenade down its gullet that misfired or something. The doctor's not perfect. And it's now got like a bad taste in its mouth. And there's this horse just running past it to the left, which is exactly what the horse does. It's just like, all right, bro. It sees it runs like Murph would, except with better running. Until the other sandworms, and there are a few. I'm not going to take the time to activate them, but there's about 5 of them who swarm the horse. And we'll get to what happens after that, but you're just like, oh. Okay, so John, that was you. Nate.
So it's like disappointment, and then that happens. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you're just like,
Oh,
oh,
awesome.
this could get worse. Nate, what do you do? You're gonna be like, Ash, what do we do now?
Yeah, he is pretty disheartened to see this like perfect shot land and this worm just go. Oh.
Yeah.
Ash, you mind if I grab one of them guns off you?
I'm already handing one to you.
Nate's just gonna start shooting.
All right, so I'm gonna give you a free action to just. I picked this cinematic moment where you look and Ash is already like, make yourself useful, you son of a bitch, or whatever. You just swipe it up. Give me a shooting roll, and if you super ace this one, I'm gonna laugh. And maybe you kill it with one shot. Probably not. All right, so you lean in and you hit it. You're just you look and you're like, all right, I got this. You shoot it, and by damn, you hit it. Give me a damage roll. Wild eyes of 5. Target as 4.
What gun did you give me? When?
What gun do you want?
Which?
So I've got 2. I have so much shit. I've got 2 Colt Peacemakers, and then the rifle. I think I probably would have handed you one of the Peacemakers, because the rifle's on my back.
Maybe
What's the damage on that?
2d6 plus 1.
Yes.
Two d6 plus 1.
Yep.
So there's this hit and ping, and you see some flecks of whatever come off, as this thing is up there, and now it is reacting, right? So there's this moment where it becomes clear that, all right, I'm still alive, and I've just gotten shot, and it sort of arches down, but then it's Dobbs' turn, and he's looking up at it like Dobbs does, like, fuck you. Like, Dobbs, what do you do?
Well, I guess what I'm gonna do is be like, bing, and out comes Jennifer. And I'm just gonna like dive up and try to like slice it down the belly.
Okay, so and I'm gonna point out too that like a handful of dynamite. Where did that wind up, John? Were you running with a handful of dynamite? I just want to rewind for 2 seconds, just from a.
I was standing next to Dobbs, and as soon as that thing came up, I dropped all the dynamite and ran to the horse. So
Dobbs, I'm going to give you this free sort of like, you're like shing, and you glance down as you're looking at Jennifer because damn, she's pretty. You see a whole, there's a bunch of dynamite down there. However, your declared action is what it is. Go ahead and give me that attack with Jennifer. Mother Maggot's parry is 7. She doesn't move very fast. You're like 25. Wild die. So for a 9, give me your damage. So you jump up there and you stab at Mother Maggot. And you're just like, blink, and man, she stops Jennifer. You cut into the scale, like you dig in, but you don't feel soft meat like you should. You're close enough though, thankfully, that she's not going to be able to curl under, and you're just kind of right there, like that sort of, you know, proximity thing. But you do no appreciable damage. She is not shaken, not wounded, and you are super close. Do you want to use any movement or what?
Well, I have 2 pistols, so I can get an extra fighting roll. So can I punch her also?
You can. Let's see. That'd be funny if Jennifer couldn't make it through, but you punch a hole in her gut. Her parry.
Hit with a. That'll hit.
7. It would hit. Yeah. Give me your damage roll.
Same damage.
So you clunk and stick into and you and punch, and this is this moment where the music changes, and you're just at it, and there's this heroic moment, but you're losing. The hero's about to die here. So we'll take the next turn unless you want to move, because it's Mother Maggot's strike.
I'm gonna try to swing around her.
I don't know what I just meant to move. I didn't mean to click that. You're gonna swing around.
I'm gonna try to
her.
like swing around her, like so. Just take and like move back here.
Okay.
I mean, if she's facing this way,
yeah.
I'm assuming she can't spin around.
Correct, because she's a worm. Give me a good call. Give me an agility roll to see if you pull that off exactly as you hope to. Success would indicate. Success on the other side of 4 would indicate that you get behind. Yeah, so you cartwheel around her, you know. Yeah, spin around behind her.
I kind of hook one of her little scales and do like back when I was doing square dancing with old Molly and just kind of swing around her.
I hear banjo music. I'm going to dub banjo music in here. So you do that. So she then attempts to attack. So I'm going to call that, let's call that a -2. So as you're spinning around, Dobbs, you feel this very realistic, like, on your leg, as your leg's kind of out there, forgetting for a second that these things have that inner maw that they can extract. Oh, Jesus. I'm guessing that beats your toughness.
So I have a problem, and that is a 7 does not hit me. My parry is 9.
Oh, is your parry 9? Good call.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would have been your fucking leg, buddy. Fine. I'm so sad right now. So it hits your boot, and you just feel it. No, yes, that's the episode. Who took my boot? She takes your boot, rips that boot right the fuck off your leg, and you feel that for the first time in about a month, you feel air on your feet, which for the rest of the audience is, that's bad. Moving on. Ash, you're seeing this. This is getting real. What do you do?
Oh no, I just try again with the grenade. I think this is my last shell that I have. So I'm gonna use it.
Oh, Benny time. Benny time.
Yeah. So, yeah, last shell.
Woo!
I will spend a Benny to
Will you?
reroll that.
Okay.
Because I want this to be a good shot. I don't want to blow up dots.
Much better.
Oh, so much
So,
better.
picture this.
Yeah,
So this thing like whips in, grabs your boot, and rips it out, and almost just lets it go. And Ash, it's flying through the air slow-mo. And you see it in your periphery like, that's a boot. It's not a foot. Good job. And as this thing's head's coming up, right down the gullet, give me a damage roll. Hopefully this doesn't misfire.
Is it going to be 2d12 again, or what?
It's 2d12.
Okay.
And there should be some acing allowed, and making sure that you're... are you just rolling straight 2d12? Because it could ace if it rolls a 12.
You can see the individual rolls.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, one. All right.
Oh,
Yeah, only 11.
So,
How do you roll 3 1s out of 4 12s? That's crazy.
yeah.
Bad luck.
So, this one goes down, and just literally, you sense this kind of, shaking inside of its sort of throat area, and it does stun it. I'm going to give it, based on that, it's going to go ahead and be shaken. However, still at it. John, what do you do?
Seeing the baby worms preoccupied, I am going to, I think, charge a card and throw it at Mother Maggot, because I feel like the gun hasn't been super effective yet.
Okay.
Okay.
So, any bennies? Anything going on there?
Yeah, I'll re-roll damage then.
Well, no. So you throw the card, dink, off of this thing. Nate, what do you do?
Yeah, I'm just gonna fire again. So Nate takes another breath. It's been a long time since he fired a gun. Sort of peers down the barrel and shoots again.
Okay, give me a shot and +2 frame. Nice, so 12. So it's like this sort of camera follows your aim, and you shoot.
So 2d6 +1.
So again, so you shoot Mother Maggot. Doink! You hit her. Not a massive amount of damage. Coming back to Dobbs, you're there. She's been fed now explosives. There's dynamite behind you. She's now bearing down on you, channeling all of her anger toward you, and you sense that she's about to strike. What do you do now?
I'm just gonna try to punch her twice in the head.
You get a what?
Try to punch her twice in the head.
So she's up there to a point where you couldn't reach her if you tried, unless you wait for her to come down on you.
Okay.
You're to a point where you're just like, oh man, you're looking up at her, and you're just like, oh, it's just she and I, my friends have got my back, and you just calling out. You recognize what's going on around you, and then boom, the horse explodes with its ghost rock and the children that were trying to tear it apart. What do you do?
Like I said, I think I'm gonna wait till she bears down on me and then punch her.
Oh, fuck. Okay. All right. How are we gonna do that? So give me your fighting roll. She's gonna make a fighting roll.
Can I use my feint to make her use smarts?
You can, and you probably should.
Sounds like a good idea.
All right. So that's your fighting roll. So she's gonna come in with smarts. Seriously. Do you see this?
Unfortunately, I think she's gonna hit me this time.
Yeah, so she so she aced on that. So nice. So you guys from the back, you see Dobbs there just bristling with these big muscles, and he's trying to poise, but he times it wrong, and she just comes down on him striking out at the very last moment. What? What? So she actually hits you with her smarts roll, but hang on a second. Let me roll damage. Oh, so
that's better.
Yeah. What's your toughness?
My toughness is 7.
All right, so she comes in, and basically, Dobbs, you feel yourself just impacted with the weight of this massive worm as she slams you into the sand. Your breath leaves you, and you are shaken. So further damage will result in a wound. You see Dobbs go down. You're not entirely certain because of the flying sand whether or not he's going to make it out of this or not. That brings us... Now, you can spend a Benny Dobbs if you want right away to remove shaken, so you're available, or you can do that next turn. Okay.
Yep, I got one. I'll spend it right now.
So it's this moment where you feel the pain. You've not felt the weight like this, but she's going into the sand right next to you. It's like she's trying to devour you. Her aim was a little off, so it's more impact than bite. Ash, you're up next. What do you do?
I put the grenade launcher, I kind of like shove it away and flip out the rifle, and I just aim and fire. Can only do so much right now.
So you aim, you shoot, pow. And actually, if you wanted to aim and sort of place a blow, you've got the ability to do that as well, but you do hit. So what are you trying to accomplish there? Trying to shoot it in the body, find a weak spot, or what?
Yeah, I mean, because I imagine it's like this big, like, writhing mass of, like, chitin and underbelly and spines, so I just try to aim for, like, what looks to be a soft spot in the underbelly, maybe. Yep. Oh, fuck, that's so bad. What is wrong with me?
It never happens.
So, if we can use bennies to reroll damage, I will.
You can
happily spend another one.
In fact.
Yep, you can.
And if you have any raises, you use them also still in your reroll.
Yeah. So I will try and do that. Oh, so much better.
Ooh, so Ash, this is amazing. So you come in. So there's this massive sand as this worm hits, and Dobbs is in the middle of it, and you lose sight of him, and you're like, no, and you just hone in, and like your eagle eye finds this little tiny black spot, and you put a bullet right in it, and this thing whips up and will be shaken. For the first time, it is now shaken. Any movement or anything else, or are you going to let it go on to the next character?
Staying where I am.
All right, John, you're up next. What do you do?
I'm going to approach probably about halfway, and kind of getting my eye on the dynamite. Like, I want to make a play for it, but I don't want to do it when it's right there. And I'm going to take another shot at it with my cards.
What I love is you smack the horse in the ass and you're like, hey, go run that way, fella. That's a real mess. And then you're like, okay, now I'm going to run over here.
Yeah.
I love it.
Not sure why I rolled 3 times, but I guess the first one is a 7.
All right. So, so 7 would actually hit. So what's your damage?
That's much better.
Whoa. Okay. So you run in, and as you're running in, John, you hear, come on now, you can do better than this. That whistle, and you glance, and there's this glint of a white man on the cliff, and you fling, what man? Is he wear purple hat, white hat? It was a white
hat.
Yeah, I thought so. It's a white man. You throw this card, and you do in fact hit it, which at this point causes a wound to this creature, and it reacts to this as you might expect. You hit it right in the soft spot, and it reacts. It is now wounded and shaken still. It is going to spend a Benny, though, to try to soak that wound. And I'm going to just do this. Fuck you. I should have done it in the computer. Never mind. It's going to roll a 1 on its soak roll. So it will be just sort of still wounded. So it's going to be wounded, and then we'll move on to Dobbs. So Dobbs, there's all this stuff playing out in front of you. This thing just kind of tried to eat you. Then suddenly it's reacting. Your friends are obviously backing you from afar. You're the only one this close. What do you do?
I feel like, first off, I want to say congratulations to John, because I feel like that card shot was like Bard's, the bowman's arrow versus Smog right there.
Actually, it'll be 2 wounds as I'm counting this.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do what Dobbs does, which is punch it.
So again, 2 wounds, correcting
Okay.
because you had the raise there, so it's actually getting 2 wounds since it was already shaken. So if this adventure ends with Dobbs punching it to death, I'm flying to Ohio to buy Byron dinner.
So
I am.
here you go. I'm gonna give it 2. Best I can give it.
I think it's Jennifer though. It's got to be Jennifer. Oh yikes! You gonna use a Benny or no?
That's a 4 on the wild die though.
Oh, it is. It is. I'm sorry. I didn't see that. I just saw the 2. I reacted to that. It's the wincing.
So that'll be hitting it 1 time. And we'll roll some damage here. Oh.
Oh, that would be bonus damage though. So strength plus. That's not the. That would be ideal, but it would be your normal strength plus D4. So
Yeah, that
that's
should
2.
be 2, huh?
Should be 2. You gonna reroll damage or no?
Nah, I can't re-roll the damage. I don't have any bennies.
All out of bennies. So.
Yep. But I can punch it a second time.
You can. So your first punch.
That's not gonna do it.
Like artillery from a distance in your fist fighting the worm. I love it. No, your second one does not in fact hit. And so you're there. Worse for the wear. Mother Maggot, her action is going to be to recover from being shaken. She's going to recover by way of a spirit roll. So, hello Mother Maggot. Where are you? Hang on a second.
She ain't got no spirit.
I know, right? She's pretty good actually. No, she's not. So she attempts to recover from being shaken, but she's not. She's just something about the supernatural cards and all this nonsense. So Ash, she's actually going to move though, because she can move. Realizing that there is she can't do any sort of trait rolls, so she can't do her diving into the sand thing, but she's going to, where the fuck is, she's going to move back there. Distancing herself a little bit. The outhouse falls over. Ash, it is your turn. What do you do?
One more shot trying to bring this thing down. I feel like it's that scene in Lord of the Rings where they're yelling like, bring it down, bring it down,
Yeah.
bring it down.
Yes.
Exactly what's going through her head.
Ah, there's a hit. So you, pow, you shoot. Give me a damage.
Oh,
Oh, man. Okay, so that does, in fact, bring her to 3 wounds, which 3 wounds in Savage Worlds brings you to an incapacitated state. So she actually, well, with a raise, anyway. But she, so you literally, it's like we follow the bullet. And I sort of picture this Dobbs standing there just like, boom, pummeling, and she backs up. And as far as he knows, he probably disrupted her kidneys or something, because there's a bullet that hits up here somewhere. But she backs up and literally slumps forward. Dobbs, roll for agility, please. Barely dodging out of you, just kind of like, oh, as a shadow kind of first precedes this crashing of this massive worm next to you. You kind of lay down next to it. Mother Maggot has died. Her babies are still out there.
no.
Dobbs, what do you do?
Well, I think I'm gonna stand up, kick her in the head.
What? I picture this where the camera sort of follows you as you walk to the front of the worm, right? And kind of glance at it. Probably spit some tobacco the way you do and just like give it a boot.
Yeah, I'm like, stupid whore.
With the shoe with the boot on or no?
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
definitely the foot without the boot.
Yeah. Boom.
And I'm gonna go, I took my boot.
Who took my boot? Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of this episode of The Curse of Black Ridge Mine. Here on Myth Brigade with Savage Worlds. Yeah, so quick round. You guys glad to be back?
Oh, very glad.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Nice. I'm going to hit end of the stream right here just so we can get down to the business. We're going to do an improvement phase, and we're going to do some other stuff. Keep your eyes open because I think we're back to a fairly regular schedule, hopefully. And we'll see what happens on the other side of this worm kill. My one question before we end the stream. What's your plan to get this back to Maggot Gap from here? Since you fucking blew up your only horse.
Well, I was thinking about that ahead of time, and I figured the horse probably wasn't going to do much anyways, based on like what I was imagining in my mind. So I'm thinking we're going to need like teeth or something to kind of prove
Bring a
it.
Silver Pete to do it.
It's hard. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we need to look for Snowball too.
Maybe fix that wagon.
Oh,
and
you know what? Yeah,
Yeah,
we got to
fix
resolve
that
that.
wagon.
We got to resolve that. Looking for Snowball. So there's a scene change, right, where kind of Dobbs is patching himself up a little bit. He's gotten a little ruffled here or there, and kind of starting to figure stuff out, trying to figure out what's going on. Who goes looking for Snowball?
I probably would, just since I remember seeing the blood trail in the bone and stuff, and I kind of tell them and say, well, there's a lot of blood in there. I'm not very optimistic, but I'll take a look.
So there's this quiet moment where you're climbing down the ladder and you followed the trail of blood in. And there at the base of the ladder is this awkward pile of hair, almost like a blown dandelion. And there's a very dead skeleton, a very old skeleton of maybe what might have been a dog with white fur, missing one leg because the leg is upstairs. You found Snowball, though it's up to you how you're going to transport, because there's a lot of Snowball everywhere. Her hair is literally just like flying on the wind.
Oh boy. I go, I guess, back up and take whatever like bedroll or any type of fabric or whatever and try to like pile it in and kind of wrap it up, I guess, as ceremoniously as I can, but knowing I'm not getting too much. At least hopefully it's closure.
It is in fact closure, which is ironic because it's time, ladies and gentlemen, that we reach closure with this episode. So thanks so much for checking this out post production on YouTube. If you happen to watch it quickly, next week, Tuesday? Yeah. Nice Black Agent, where my character probably dies. I've been saying that for weeks. It's getting closer. And yeah, we've been Myth Brigade. Bye.